Oh, we must be pretty much ready.
I thought
What did he say?
I thought we were over, and then
30 seconds?
they're saying what 3 to 5, and this is early. Yeah, 'cause I thought they said maybe a couple inches Wednesday and 3 to 5 on Thursday.
Okay, Ross is here. Okay.
Yeah.
Call the meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Mary Beth?
Nelson. Here. Orison.
Here.
Larson.
Here.
Wunschel.
Here.
Hanson.
Here.
Reed. Volk.
Here. Okay, item 3 on the agenda are a couple of presentations. First, we have Blake Goss, Events and Programming Coordinator with the Spencer Chamber, and he's here to give us a little update on Flagfest. And that must mean that spring and summer is just around the corner.
It certainly does. Did I turn this on properly?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
you're
good. Mayor, council, city staff, thank you guys for having me here this evening. This will be quick. I know I got a large agenda here this evening. But like you just alluded to, Flagfest will be here before we know it, which means sunshine, green grass, and all the fun things that come with it, so can't wait for that. Flagfest could not take place without the generous support from the city, and we're greatly appreciative of that. No real big changes this year with the parade route. The street closures have been submitted to Chief Warburton, Iowa DOT, and Iowa Highway Patrol. Same route from West 14th Street east to Grand, then south on Grand Avenue to the 4th Street intersection, then back west on 4th, and then come back on up and end up at the fairgrounds. This year, we would also like to highlight all the parks again that we did last year. We'll be at Fairview for some inflatables. Riverview, we're down with the tractor pool, hopefully some food trucks and some entertainment. And then North School Park, we'll have a movie in the park on Friday evening. That was well attended last year. In the works of getting a bicycle ride taken care of through the city bike trail. But just wanted to bring that up to you guys. And the normal things also, forgot Grand Cruise will be taking place, and the Christian Motorcycle Show. The usual street closures for all that the day of Flagfest, which will be June 10th. Will be the parade date. But the whole weekend, June 9th through 11th, will be all fun-filled activities, working with Bob Fullhart on the parks and to that nature and the swimming pool. So it's all coming together, but just want to thank you guys for the continued support of Flagfest and can't wait to put on a great event. Any questions?
Any questions for Blake on Flagfest? This is your second, so you're a veteran this year.
Use that
right?
word cautiously.
You're a veteran. And Blake did cut his teeth last year, and he was a guest weather forecaster with Channel 4 last year,
Along
too.
with you, and
Yeah.
you did fantastic on that interview.
No, I think it was you. You know, you had to go first. We flipped a coin. So,
Well, you can return the favor this year and go first.
we'll see. Okay. Thank you, Blake.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Okay, next on the agenda, I have a proclamation to make, and I'm going to depart just a bit from protocol, and I'm going to go down to the mic. It's a little different. It's pretty intimidating right here, I want to tell you. Yeah. We have a special guest in the crowd today. He's been here a lot, and he has a special day coming up here in just a couple of weeks. So, Mr. Spencer, Bob Rose, has his 90th birthday in a couple of weeks, March 20th. And I want to make a couple of announcements. First of all, his birthday party, and I'm not quite sure who has arranged all of the birthday party things, but it's going to be on March 18th, Saturday, from 1 to 3 at the Spencer Golf and Country Club. There's going to be a program at 2 o'clock, and the public is invited. So, at this time, though, I would like Bob to come up, and I would like to read a proclamation. This is a City of Spencer proclamation honoring Bob Rose, Mr. Spencer, for his lifelong dedication, leadership, and service to the community of Spencer, Iowa. And whereas Bob has served the community as a businessman, the Spencer Main Street Director, Chamber of Commerce Director, and whereas Bob has been instrumental in his support and dedication to the Spencer YMCA, Spencer Rotary, Spencer Community Schools, Arts on Grants, Spencer Historic Preservation Commission, Northwest Amateur Golf Tournament, and whereas Bob has been an invaluable volunteer, contributor, and supporter of virtually every community project for over 6 decades, and whereas Bob has shown all of us what it means to be a true community servant and leader through his sense of duty, self-sacrifice, and citizenship. And now, therefore, on behalf of the Spencer City Council, I, Steve Baumgars, Mayor of Spencer, City of Spencer, do hereby proclaim Monday, March 20, 2023, that's the birthday.
That's the day.
As Bob Rose Day in the City of Spencer, and urge all citizens to join me in expressing our appreciation to Bob for his years of service and leadership in the Spencer community, and wishing him many years to come. Proclaimed this 6th day of March, 2023. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. I am truly honored and I'm very humbled. I don't need the accolades, but I enjoy them. I'll admit that. So thank you so much. It is indeed an honor to be a part of this community and to do things that hopefully make a difference. And I sometimes wonder why I'm still here when so many of my good friends are no longer here. And as one of my very dear friends told me, I don't think God is through with you yet. Well, I appreciate the sentiment, and I'm so humbled and honored, and I appreciate that. And thank you all so very much. Thank you, Steve.
You bet. Thank you, Bob.
Do I get this?
You get that.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, now moving on to item 4, the consent agenda. We'll get back to business here. Very, very nice, though, for Bob. Item A is a motion to approve the City Council minutes of February 20, 2023. B is a motion to approve the licenses renewal of Class C retail alcohol license for Spencer Golf and Country Club, subject to final approval by the Iowa ABD. C is a motion to approve a grant of permanent utility easement and temporary construction easement for the North Y Gateway Improvement Project with Manning Farms, LLC. D is a motion to approve sewer refund of $564.53 to Living Word Church, 817 10th Avenue Southeast. E is a motion to approve certified local government annual report for Spencer Historic Preservation Commission. F is a motion to approve agreement with Northwest Iowa Planning and Development Commission for Shield Safety Program fiscal year 2024. G is a resolution to provide for a notice of hearing on proposed plans and specifications, form of contract estimate of cost for 2023 East 15th Street Tennis Court Project, letting date March 30, 2023, hearing and potential award of contract April 3, 2023. H, motion approving funding agreement for West 18th Street Bridge Replacement Improvement Project with Iowa Department of Transportation. I is a motion approving funding agreement for the 2023 East Side Reconstruction Project with Iowa DOT. J is a resolution authorizing permanent transfer of funds of budgeted transfers for the month ending February 28, 2023. And K is a motion to approve residential tax abatement application for Nathan and Katie Gwynn, 1813 20th Avenue West, Spencer, Iowa, 51301.
Quiet month.
Yeah. Motion made by Tom.
Second.
Second by Donovan. Any discussion? Please vote by machine.
Nelson, I. Larson, I. Wunschel, I. Hanson, I. Bulk, I. Orison.
Motion carries. Item 5 is we have some public hearings tonight. A is a public hearing on the exchange of real property between the City of Spencer and Mill Creek Properties, LLC. I declare the public hearing now open. Any written comments against?
We have none there.
Any oral comments against? Any written comments in favor of?
We have none.
Any oral comments in favor of? I declare the public hearing now closed. 1 is a resolution approving and authorizing an exchange of real property between the City of Spencer and Mill Creek Properties, LLC.
I'll make a motion on that, Mayor.
Motion made by Ron. Second? Second by Tracy. Any discussion? Please vote by machine.
Nelson, I. Larson, I. Wunschel, I. Hanson, I. Bulk, I. Orison.
Motion carries. Second public hearing is a public hearing on plan specifications, form of contract, estimate of costs for construction of the 2023 sidewalk project. I declare the public hearing now open. Any written comments against?
We have none, Mayor.
Any oral comments against? Any written comments in favor of?
We have none.
Any oral comments in favor of? I declare the public hearing now closed. Item B1 is a resolution finally approving and confirming plan specifications and form of contract for the 2023 sidewalk project. Motion made by Tom. Is there a second by Bill? Any discussion?
So this is on the east side, Fifth Avenue. Don, we don't have anything in our rules on sidewalks on both sides when we do street reconstruction, or is there something in there that once we do a street that we have to do both sides? I was just kind of wondering about that because
My recollection, and somebody else might be able to refresh me, is that the city did adopt a policy that when a street is reconstructed, the sidewalks are constructed as part of the project, both sides. Is that right?
that was,
Ross, do you or Brian?
Good evening. I believe that's correct. We may have to review the ordinance again, but
It's not an ordinance, it's just a policy.
just a
Yeah.
policy.
just the policy. Okay, so there was no ordinance on it. Okay.
No, because we did it about the time the blue zones, and so we said and we adopted the sidewalk grant program and said that we would pay for the infill, and then on reconstruction, we would automatically reconstruct or add sidewalk to those areas that didn't have sidewalk when we were doing a total reconstruction project. This is just, we're adding sidewalk to get from 18th or 19th down to Fairview School, because there is no, they're heavily trafficked, and that's where we have the lighted crossing for 18th, but there's been no sidewalk to get down to Fairview on that side, so that's why at this, at least this point, we're just going down one side.
Okay, any other questions? Any other discussion? Please vote by machine.
Nelson, I. Larson, I. Wunschel, I. Hanson, I. Bulk, I. Orison.
Resolution carries. Okay, item 5B2, engineers, Cruz, Kate, and Nelson, review the bids. Welcome back.
Yeah, it's been such a long time since I've been here. Good evening again. We did take bids for this project last Thursday. We did receive 5 bids. We had quite a spread in the bids, with the low bid being 78% of the estimate and the high bid being 118% of the estimate. On the bid tab sheet, you'll see quite a few familiar names, other than our low bidder, who is Mulder Concrete Incorporated out of George, Iowa. They are new to us. Our firm hasn't worked with them, and I don't believe Public Works has either. It's my understanding they've done a little work in Spencer, a little private work. I was able to talk to a few of their references, one of which was a civil engineer out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. He's worked with them on a project, a sidewalk project. Coincidentally, they just got another project through him the same day that they got this project, and he's also awarding the job to them. So I also talked to a city administrator out of Rock Valley, and they didn't have any issues with them also. So I would say with those references and through the public bid letting process, we would recommend award to Mulder Concrete in that low bid amount of $144,076.00. Just as a reminder, this project is on Fifth Avenue East from East 16th Street up to East 19th Street. It's on the east side of the street on Fifth Avenue East. And then there is a block of infill on West 11th Street around 15th Avenue West on both sides of the street there, so.
So what was the total amount of that, Ross? 144?
Yeah, their total bid is $144,076.00.
Okay,
And that is different than what was initially read at the bid letting,
yeah,
so.
okay. Okay,
And they're aware of the unit price calculation error in their bid.
okay, okay. Okay, any questions?
So did you have an opportunity to speak with someone from their company?
Yeah, he was actually at the bid letting.
Okay.
We didn't talk a lot at the bid letting, but I have talked to him on the phone quite a bit. I think he's got a small crew, very small crew, it sounds like, probably 2 to 3 guys, and he's got the right equipment to do this job, but that's probably about the extent of his equipment. So I'd say he's got a small crew, he's got not a lot of equipment, probably low overhead, and so I think that's where we're at here.
Okay, little lean then. I mean, he's running a lean operation.
He is, and he
Okay.
did say that at the bid letting.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
that's exactly what he said, so.
Okay. Okay, anyone else? Okay, thank you. So at this time, I'd entertain either a motion to table the action awarding the contract or a resolution awarding the contract for the 2023 sidewalk project to Mulder Concrete.
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract with Mueller Concrete.
Okay, motion made by Brian,
I'll second it.
seconded by Donovan. Any discussion? Please vote.
Ross?
Go ahead.
So if somebody we've never worked with like this, if they get slow, I mean, there's a time frame on this, right?
Correct, yep, there's,
Or if they run into issues that are over their head, that's their problem to bring somebody in or get the right equipment or whatever, right?
that's correct. And we do have a payment performance bond on the project, So we are covered in that aspect. I did have some additional discussions with a few contractors about this Molder concrete. And they evidently have some guys that they can fall back on, a few contractors, so they may bring in some extra help on big pour days. So he does have a few, extra guys that they use, when they need them, so.
So your comfort level is good?
Yeah, other than only have met him once and
Right.
never worked with him,
I
so,
get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I just.
Yeah, I would say, we're, until we have a good chance to work with somebody on a job, we don't know what's gonna happen, so. But yeah, I would say we are recommending an award to them. So.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, please vote by machine.
Nelson, I. Larson, I. Wunschel, I. Hanson, I. Bulk, I. Orison?
Okay, resolution passes. Item 5 is a resolution approving contract and performance bond for the 2023 sidewalk project.
I'll introduce that.
Motion made by Bill,
I'll second.
second by Tracy. Any discussion? Please vote by machine.
Nelson, I. Larson, I. Wunschel, I. Hanson, I. Bulk, I. Orison?
Aye.
Resolution passes. Our last public hearing is on plans, specifications, form of contract, estimate of cost for the construction of the North Y Gateway Improvement Project. Declare the public hearing now open. Any written comments against?
We have none, Mayor.
Any oral comments against? Any written comments in favor of? Any oral comments in favor of?
We have none.
I declare the public hearing now closed. Item 5C1 is a resolution finally approving and confirming plans, specifications, form of contract for the construction of the North Y Gateway Improvement Projects. Bids will be received March 9, 2023.
Make a motion on that, approving that?
Motion made by Ron. Second by Tom. Any discussion?
Better bring him up here. Have we heard anything on anybody on the bid? Any groups that are looking to bid this project?
Yeah, I think Jim has talked to a lot of contractors. We have 32 sets of plans and specs out of our office, plus a lot of the plan rooms that we don't necessarily see all the plans that they send out.
Okay.
We are learning that there is a lot of work out there, and I think there's work coming, is what we're being told. So, but there are guys looking at it. We do know that, and so hopefully we can get a few good bids. So.
Yeah, well, 32 seems like a pretty good number to have.
Yeah, and
numbers.
that could be everybody. That could be material
Right.
suppliers and.
Yeah,
and
I agree, but
Yep,
at least it's not 2.
that's right. Yeah, we'd be a little nervous if it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Anyone else?
And Don, with the approval of the moral easement here that we just did, is that all of them now with Manning? Was that the last?
No, Shines, the south side of 37th, the new intersection is still to be finalized. And they've most recently been talking with Mr. TC, so I'm not sure where that is, but we'll shoot to have it at your next meeting.
Okay. Any other questions? Please vote by machine.
Nelson, I. Larson, I. Wunschel, I. Hanson, I. Bulk, I. Orison?
Aye.
Okay, resolution passes. Item 6, old business. A is an ordinance amending Title II, Chapter 14, Section 9 of Spencer City Code concerning meetings of the Spencer Plumbing Board, eliminating the annual meeting requirement. This is the second filing.
So moved.
Motion made by Donovan,
I'll second that.
second by Ron. Any discussion?
You must have had the first meeting before, on last week when I was, or 2
Yeah.
weeks ago.
Yes.
And basically, the reasoning being, they don't want an annual, they'll have one as need be, right? Okay, that's
Yep.
what I assume, so, thank you.
Yep. Anyone else? Please vote by machine.
Nelson, I. Larson, I. Wunschel, I. Hanson, I. Bulk, I. Orison.
Okay, ordinance passes. On 6A1, I would entertain a motion to waive the final filing and proceed to final consideration. And we need 6 votes in order to make that go. Motion made by Bill. Second by Brian. Any discussion? Please vote by machine.
Nelson, I. Larson, I. Wunschel, I. Hanson, I. Bulk, I. Orison.
Okay, we will then move to the final filing, an ordinance amending Title II, Chapter 14, Section 9 of the Spencer City Code concerning meetings of the Spencer Plumbing Board, eliminating the annual meeting requirements. This would be the final filing.
I'll make a motion on that.
Motion made by Ron,
Second.
second by Donovan. Any discussion? Please vote by machine.
Nelson, I. Larson, I. Wunschel, I. Hanson, I. Bulk, I. Orison.
Okay, the final filing passes. Well, we're going to go through the same gymnastics on the electrical board. B is an ordinance amending Title II, Chapter 13, Section 9 of the Spencer City Code concerning meetings of the Spencer Electrical Board, eliminating the annual meeting requirement. This is the second filing.
So moved.
Motion made by Donovan,
Second.
second by Tracy. Any discussion? Please vote by machine.
Nelson, I. Larson, I. Wunschel, I. Hanson, I. Bulk, I. Orison.
Okay, B1 is a motion to waive the final filing, proceed to the final consideration.
Make a motion on that.
Ron got in ahead of you, Bill, but you got the second. Any discussion? Please vote by machine.
Nelson, I. Larson, I. Wunschel, I. Hanson, I. Bulk, I. Orison.
So we'll now move to final consideration of the ordinance amending Title II, Chapter 13, Section 9 of the Spencer City Code concerning meetings of the Spencer Electrical Board, eliminating the annual meeting requirements, final filing. Motion made by Tom.
Second.
Second by Donovan. Any discussion? Please vote by machine.
Nelson, I. Larson, I. Wunschel, I. Hanson, I. Bulk, I. Orison.
Final filing is approved. Item 7, new business. A is a motion to approve 2080 agreement with Clay County, Iowa for West 18th Street Bridge Replacement Improvement Project.
So moved.
Tracy?
Yep.
Got the first.
I'll second it.
Second by Ron. Any discussion?
I don't see, maybe we'll have to have Dan explain what's going on with this and just give public kind of an information on this replacement.
Sure. Some time ago, several years ago, we put this bridge on the list to get state or federal funding to replace this bridge, thinking that we'd have quite a while before it moved to the top, but then a bunch of infrastructure money came available and it moved it up faster because they dumped more money into the system. So the bridge does need to be repaired, and the county's going, it's half in the county, half in the city limits, so the county's builds a lot more bridges than we do, so they're running this project and in cooperation with us, and it's a $1.5 million grant. I forget what the total is, but it's considerably more than that, which we will have to figure out how to fund in the next, we have 3 years to let the bids and start building it, so we got some time to work on that, but you only get on these lists every so often, so we need to jump on this while we got the chance, then this federal money's available, so that's about all there is to that.
Any other questions for Dan?
So the bidding will be left up to the county and when they put out this for bid, or,
I believe it'll be a DOT bid project.
okay.
Okay. Anyone else?
And then Brian,
Yeah.
on the financial side, so my understanding is it's a 3.8 million projected cost minus the 1.5, leaves our share about 1.15 million, is that right?
That'd be correct, yep.
Okay, and then, but we're not sure,
We haven't identified a funding source yet for our portion.
okay.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item B is a motion to approve an agreement for engineering services with Kirkham Michael for West 18th Street Bridge Replacement Improvement Project.
I'll make a motion on that.
Motion made by Ron. Second by Tom. Any discussion?
Dan, do we know where this company's out of and if they do a lot of bridges or what?
This is the company that Clay County uses for all their bridges, so that's why we went with them under their recommendation.
I figured it was.
Okay.
So the agreement that we're basically saying to the county, yep, use these guys, it's golden, go ahead. Essentially, right?
Correct.
Well, this agreement is actually the one with the engineering firm that'll take you through preliminary design. And I have been through it and suggested a few changes, which they agreed to. Ron, you might remember the name. This firm, Gary Sendlar was a member of this firm that helped us salvage the waste treatment plant
Okay, yeah.
30 years ago, so.
Yeah.
We do have a history, but not with the current staff.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion's approved. Item C is a resolution accepting quotes for the 2023 wastewater treatment plant bar screen room roof replacement project.
Make a motion on that.
Yeah, a sunroom? Yeah.
I think Bill got,
I think the motion was made by Ron.
Yeah.
We digress a bit here.
and Bill seconded it.
And Bill, did you get the second there?
Yeah.
Okay. I think so. Okay. All right. Any discussion? Okay, please vote by machine.
Nelson, I. Larson, I. Wunschel, I. Hanson, I. Bulk, I. Orison.
Resolution passes. Item 8, department head reports. Planning Department. Adam.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The February permit report is out for your viewing pleasure.
With temperatures increasing, inspections and construction has picked up from the latter part of February into the beginning of March as expected. I've been working on some maps, links, items for Retail Coach, the Corridor, and Leadership Spencer program. And I've also been creating some interactive GIS mapping items for some interdepartmental items. Coming up in May, the Historic Preservation Commission and sitting staff are hosting the 2023 lecture series. This will mirror previous years' lecture series with new topics, new presenters, and all that fun stuff. This is kind of a plug for that. It will take place in the council chambers Tuesday and Thursday evenings throughout the month of May, 5:30 p.m. The lectures will also be broadcast on SMU Channel 2, as well as broadcast on the City of Spencer's Facebook page, and then with scheduled replays on Channel 2 to follow posterior. Other than that, the department is performing inspections as they come in, along with assisting the developmental needs of the community. Any questions?
Any questions for Adam? I just have just a comment, and
Go ahead.
that is, I was at the Historic Preservation Commission meeting last week, I believe it was.
Correct, yep, February 28th.
And I will give a plug too, because it sounds like the lineup for the presentations is going to be fantastic this year.
Yes, and that should be marketed shortly
Yeah.
throughout town on various, through the Daily Reporter, SMU, and as well as our city Facebook page,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I won't
Once
give
that's
any
completely
away.
finalized, it'll probably be out next week,
Okay,
so,
good enough.
yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Library, Sarah Beth.
Good evening. All right, the library, we had a really good turnout this past month for the Ulysses Grant presentation. Everybody that came out was just raving about it, and we had a packed room, so that was good to see. This month's special guest is a presenter named Brad Wilkening, and his program's called Lessons of the Holocaust. This is taking place on Thursday, March 16th at 6 p.m. And then, of course, our online safety and social media program that we had to reschedule from January will be taking place here on March 23rd at 6:30. And on a much lighter note, there is a kids' party at the end of this month on March 25th from 2 to 3:30, and it's a Dogman party. So Dogman is a series of a kids' graphic novel series by the author and illustrator of the Captain Underpants books, so you can imagine how silly it really is. Let's see. The library shared a space with the Spencer Reads group at Family Fest this past Saturday, which had a really, really great turnout. We were in the ballroom, so we weren't in the main area, and I wondered if it would be quieter, and it was not. So Spencer Reads, was giving out free books to all the kids that came through, and then the library had our button maker there for the kids to decorate their own button and then put it through the machine. We signed up several people for library cards that day, and we had a fun selfie station that was Dogman themed as well. So, and speaking of library card signups, the schools are welcoming us on March 20th to their their kindergarten roundup events. They have 2 that day, so we're going to be there as well, signing up the youngins for their library cards. So that'll be a good way for us to get them reading. Later this week, Thursday is going to be pretty busy because I'm sure Chief will tell you about the disaster thing we're doing on Thursday. And then after that, Kayla, our children's librarian, and I are going to Cherokee for the state library is putting on little STEM fairs for librarians to just kind of teach each other different program or projects and whatnot. So Kayla and I are going to go and teach them how to make doodle bots, which are little tiny motorized scribbling robots. They're pretty cute. And then we have to come on back that afternoon, and I've got board meeting that night. So yes, board meeting is this Thursday at 6:30, and we'll be making some decisions on our planning for results process that we'll be doing next month. So we'll be inviting lots of community members in to give us some input on what direction the library should be looking at as far as our programs and services. And then finally, we are very excited that we will be receiving a Clay County Community Foundation grant. So we will be at that ceremony next Monday. And we're using this grant for like a smaller version of the smart boards you see in the elementary classrooms these days that we can use with various meetings, but especially to enhance the story time experience. So that's all I got.
Any questions? I'm kind of shocked there's no questions about Dogman or Captain Underpants myself, but I do have a question, and I just didn't get the time. March 16th, presentation on the Holocaust.
Yes, that is, it's just called Lessons of the Holocaust, and Brad Wilkening, I'm pretty sure we've had him do other presentations at the library, is coming for that, so.
Okay, and what time is that?
6,
Okay,
let me look. There it is, 6 p.m.
okay,
Thank you.
okay, thanks.
Okay.
It wasn't a test.
No.
Okay, all right. Chief Conyon is not here. He did submit a written report. Police, Chief Warburton.
Good evening. Spencer Police Department in the month of February responded to 840 calls for service, and we performed 45 arrests. Recently, the 911 board purchased equipment for our communication center that actually counts the number of calls that come in and or received or placed out of the communication center. And so from this point forward, I'll also be giving out the total number of calls that are placed out of that communication center. For the month of February, they received or placed 2,565 calls out of the communication center. So definitely a busy place in there. Recently, the 911 center also met with a representative from AT&T. And they placed a new cell phone in the communication center, which is signed up for FirstNet. So in case of emergency, they take the highest priority on the call tree. This is basically for redundancy in case our phone lines go down, our landlines go down or interrupted. Hopefully that'll work out well, as well as text messaging back and forth to on-duty officers and for emergency response plans or call-outs. This month, members of the Clay County Sheriff's Office, Spencer Police Department, and other advocacy members met with Iowa State Attorney General Brenna Bird to discuss victim advocacy in our current mental health system. So that was a productive meeting out at the Sheriff's Office. The COM board meeting also met this month and recommended next year's operation budget. Officers provided security at Eggs and Issues this month, along with the Chamber's Ag Outlook that was held out at the event center. Lastly, I'd like to welcome new hire Caitlin Radke. She's from Sioux Rapids as our newest dispatcher in our communication center. Her first day was today, and so I'd like to welcome her, and that marks us full staffed in the communication center. So hopefully in 14 weeks, we'll see them, everybody at full staffed and raring to go, so for the summertime months. Any questions?
Quick
Thank
one,
you.
Chief, sorry, on those calls, can you break out 911 versus the non-emergency number?
I can.
Okay.
I don't have those numbers
No,
with
that's
me,
fine,
but
but-
we will be able to do that, yes.
Thank you.
Mhm. Any other questions?
Thanks, Chief.
You bet.
Public Works, Mark.
Evening, Mayor, Council. Finally, streets are getting back to the way they used to be before winter, only in time for another snowstorm coming up, so that'll be good. Well, it's some of the nicer weather that we've had the past few weeks. I'm sure you've all noticed a couple of potholes here and there. They are, it's been an unusual winter with the rain and well, I think every month since December, we've had rain. But potholes are forming earlier, and there is an abundance of them, so please bear with us as we work tirelessly through the day trying to fill them and refill them, and yeah. We still have the dozer here from the landfill pushing up the snow site. The landfill has been working extra hours hauling leachate with the melting of the snow and ice, and the ponds have been filling up quite a bit up at the landfill, so. And finally, as you may have heard, clean the drainage ditch out along 4th Avenue Southwest, the hard pack from the fields and some rainfall created some drainage issues. And we'd just like to thank Steve and Evan Quayle, Matt Hagedorn, Vaughn DeLoss, and Adam DeLoss for their assistance and their timely response and getting out there and getting that clean.
Good.
That's all I have.
Any questions for Mark? Mark, we, on the pothole thing, and I don't know if any of the council's gotten any calls on it, but I've gotten a few. But we had some difficulty in getting some of the cold mix that we use to patch the potholes. Is that correct?
The material company that we normally get it from is closed usually during the winter, and they were in some short supply. They have recently gotten a fresh supply, and we have stocked up.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
so we're ready to go now.
You bet.
Okay.
Mark?
Yeah.
I don't think this falls under the city. In fact, I'm quite sure it doesn't, but I've had a lot of people ask, and I don't know the answer. Trying to get to the post office, once you leave 18th Street, that's private,
Correct.
so it's the mall or,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
that's what I thought. Thanks.
You bet.
Yeah, I see that they have barricades around that huge pothole
Do they?
now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mark. Park and Recreation Director Bob can't be with us tonight, and the golf course, Brian submitted his written report. So we will move to the city attorney's report.
Thank you, Mayor. February was, I think, fairly, it can be called a typical month, about 28 hours spent on city matters. Those that involve the most time include the North Y project, the West 18th Street Bridge project, a couple of nuisances that continue through the winter, and we had some civil service activity in regard to a new certified list for firefighters. Questions?
Any questions for Don? Okay. Human Resources, Jessica.
Good evening. So last month I was working on setting up the performance reviews that we're going to do in the month of March with staff. We do 180-degree reviews, so staff all review themselves, and then the supervisors review them, and then so on. So I appreciate staff working through me on that. Citizens can visit our careers page to see our openings. We are looking to fill a full-time street maintenance position that we have available. And for seasonal positions, we still have a few openings remaining for campground manager, aquatic center admissions, park technician, one seasonal street maintenance position, and a landfill grounds maintenance position, and that's in our Grettinger location at the landfill. I served as proxy for the civil service fire exam last month. We had 8 candidates that came, and they all passed, so kudos to them. It's a very hard test. I considered taking it while I was waiting the 2 hours, but I chickened out. We would like to congratulate our new full-time firefighter engineer, Eli Clemon. Eli has been with us on the volunteer firefighter department since 2018, and we had really strong candidates, so I want to thank everybody who took time and put in the effort to come and test and interview. It was a very hard decision, but we know that we'll be really happy with Eli in the position, and he is thrilled. So. We also hired Andy Helmers. He's a new volunteer firefighter, so we're getting him onboarded. We have filled the administrative assistant position at City Hall, and that individual will start in 2 weeks, so we're looking forward to that. Last month, I participated in an emergency volunteer organization discussion with the the mayor, and Sharifa Jones from the chamber and Nancy Nave from Main Street. We were working on to follow up with the disaster preparedness that the department heads had met about on the volunteer side, getting together our network and trying to streamline the volunteer efforts if a disaster should happen in the area. Because I'm kind of outside of what would be needed at the central command, the mayor thought that I could help with that, and I'm sure happy to. So I want to thank Sharifa and Nancy Nave for that, and I reached out to the ministerial group in town, and they're going to assist as well. So getting some traction on that. And lastly, our days with no lost time safety count is at 417 days. So we're going strong, and I feel like I need to knock on wood every time I say that. But kudos to all of the staff. They do a great job of watching out for each other and just keeping their environment safe. And the Wellbeing Committee just ordered their City of Spencer logo fleece jackets and hoodies. So I'm going to be excited to see some City of Spencer logo. We also have our apparel shop up, so plug for council to get some of that. Any questions for me?
Okay, thank
All
you,
right, yeah.
Jessica. Engineers report. Ross.
I don't have a lot to report on, other than we continue to get projects ready for bids, and I think you'll see several more projects coming out in March and April that we have yet to get out the door. I did talk to Eric Anderson last week with Valley Contracting. He wasn't ready to update his construction schedule yet for 25th Street, but I'm hoping in 2 weeks at the meeting we'll have an update for that, and they'll be ready to get started hopefully in the next month or so. So, any questions for us?
Any questions? Okay, thanks, Ross.
All right, thank you.
Okay, city managers report. Dan?
I have a few things. I attended the Eggs and Issues I attended all three of them, but the last 2 weekends in particular. Not much to report from that. They're still in the kind of the beginning stages of a lot of it, and the items that we are concerned with at the city are funnel proof, so they haven't really started working on those too much yet, but we're keeping an eye out for anything negative that might come out of the state legislature. We've been in weekly contact with Simrise. They haven't had much to report. Everything's still on schedule, but we should get an update on the status of the cover in the next week or so, and I'll report that out as soon as we get that. And Austin with Retail Coach should be starting to market the city is for retail recruitment, and then get this towards the end of this month. So we're looking forward to some good results out of that.
Okay, any questions for Dan? Okay, under the mayor's report, just a couple of things here to dovetail on what Dan talked about with regard to eggs and issues and what's going on with the legislature. Dan and Brian Weave and myself and Lauren Reed, Councilman Reed, have met with Senator Evans and Senator Jones in separate meetings. We've had good dialogue with the legislators. It was very good of them to come in and talk with us about city issues, and especially with regard to how legislation that they're working on down in Des Moines with regard to property tax and sales tax is going to affect the city, and in particular, the city's ability to offer services and to continue to grow economically. And we continue to stress that to them, that don't do things that are going to harm our ability to grow economically and to have economic development in rural Iowa. And I think that all of us got that message across to each one of them. Secondly, on March 9th, Thursday, we are having an emergency response simulation here in City Hall. It will be conducted by Eric Tigas from Clay County Emergency Relief. And we've all seen what happened recently in Palestine, Ohio, with the train derailment. And there was a second derailment, I understand, in Ohio just a few days ago. And so as a city, these kinds of simulations, I believe, are extremely important because we need to be prepared. We hope that nothing like that is ever going to happen, but we need to be prepared. And then Sarah Beth mentioned this as well. On March 23rd, a Thursday, in the council chambers, there'll be a presentation. We have some very outstanding presenters who will be presenting on sexting and internet safety. And it's going to be geared for parents, grandparents, guardians to come, and that's a very serious issue for our society at this time. Item 12, council and committee reports.
But we have a committee of the whole meeting next Monday at 6 p.m. To talk about the agency funding requests. And on the 20th, we have a regular city council meeting, and then on the 27th, we have scheduled to go over the facility plan. We're still working with the engineers. We may tweak that and make that Zoom, but we'll let you know when we get there. But that's what we have so far.
Okay, any questions about that to Dan? What's that?
Committee of the whole is at 5:30?
6.
Okay. Okay, item 13, I would entertain a motion to approve the bills and claims.
So moved.
Who got that? Donovan? And Bill got the second. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item 14, other business, opportunity to address the council. Lenny, please state your name.
Yeah, Lenny Scaletta, 709 East 12th Street. You talked about emergency response, and I think that's great. I just wonder if there's any room or do you need like a volunteer emergency response, say like some, people that can stand on the corners and direct traffic or something like that. Would that be a good idea?
Yeah, to that end, Lenny, and Jessica kind of alluded to that during her report. We had a meeting with Jessica and Nancy Nave, the Main Street Director, Sharifa Jones, Chamber of Commerce, to talk about how we can coordinate volunteers, because we don't want, people want to help, obviously, during an emergency. They want to help, but we want to have that help, that volunteerism coordinated. And we're trying to develop some sort of system so that our volunteer activities can be coordinated when there is an emergency like that. So you're exactly right.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thanks, Lenny. Anyone else? Okay, item 15, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to section 21.5J of the Iowa Code regarding purchase or sale of particular real estate. Motion made by Tom. Second by Tracy. Any discussion?
Yeah, Don, you're comfortable with us approving this? Thank you.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you, Bill. Okay. We will be in closed session.
Shortly.